Hey YouTube, coming at you with Beyond the Hype for Wigglytuff. So Beyond the Hype series I created to cut through the hype that you're going to get with other content creators that are just going to make everything seem amazing. I'm going to give you the cut through all the hype and give you the actual strengths and weaknesses of Pokemon to tell you whether you need to build it up. Now I was doing Wigglytuff here, and Wigglytuff before the season with the assumption that Charm was going to be a 9 energy move was ranked number 4. Because with the assumption that Charm was a 9 energy move, your Swifts would get to in 4s. 3 times 4 is 12, so I get Swifts in 12, Icy Winds in 15, still getting 5.2 damage in Charm, which would have been very, very deadly combo. And then the updates came out. Thank you, data miners. We found this out very quickly, and the energy is only 8. And that means that these numbers have now changed, and they change somewhat substantially. So it goes from 4444 to 5454. And it goes from straight 5 to double 6s. So you're adding an extra 1 on the 1 and 3 here on the Swift, and adding an extra 1 on the 1, 2, and 4th turn on Icy Wind. So it makes it a much slower Pokemon, and one that is going to drop in the rankings. Now, I still think it has a ton going for it, and I think it was still very, very strong. Charm's still doing 5.2 damage per turn. That is still pretty hard hitting. Wigglytuff has always been very nice because it has that super high stamina, so it can actually take a decent amount of damage. Like, you can live pretty much every charge move that comes at you, except for like maybe super effective ones. But you live a lot of that. You still have the charm damage. You have that normal fairy typing, only weak to 2 things: poison, steel, while resisting, double resisting dragon, double resisting ghost, single resisting bug and dark. And dragons just got buffed like crazy too this season. And although Swift and Icy Wind are not hard hitting moves, because the charm damage is still pretty good, it still really only takes charm swift to take an opponent out, and Icy Wind guarantees to lower the attack. So is this Pokemon going to be the number 4 ranked Pokemon when this, like, I assume PvPoke is probably updated by now? Is this going to be the number 4 ranked Pokemon? Not a chance. It's going to drop substantially, I think, because the meta is still very dragon filled and it has some fighters here. I don't think it's going to like completely fall off. There's just too many dragons in the top 20 for it to fall off. It's going to have play. I think it's going to have more likely to be around the 20 ranking than it is the 4 ranking, just because there are steals, Corviknight, Wigglytuff, Scissors out there, Steelix, even though Breaking Swipe is different and Dragon Tail is different. I'll go over that tomorrow. Still another steel going to cause you some issues. Yes, Dragons you're going to beat, but there's poisons in Clodsire. There's just neutral Pokemon that are probably just going to be spamming just as strong, and like Lapras, Turtonator. Turtonator's half and half, but so we'll see how that goes. So there's just a lot of Pokemon that can kind of deal with you in the top. So is it still very strong? Yes. Is it still going to be a top 20 Pokemon? Probably. So how do you play with it? So you got to cover your steel weakness and got to cover your poison weakness. So I covered that with Marowak mostly, and then Jellicent in the back as well. So very strong team. Marowak is the safe swap, just going for that kind of shield, Mud Slap, Bone Club combo. You also have Rock Slide, which is buff, which gives you a little more play. I guess I should go back to the beginning of the battles. Okay. Quaxwell. This is always tricky. It's like, let me tell you this Pokemon with an in-depth analysis, and then let me show you going up against Quaxwell. Did I say Quaxwell? Which they're not even getting to the moves here, and then I don't know what the moves are, and so it seems slow, so I just shield the first one, and then I throw, because I was just like, why are you farming to like 1,000,000 energy here? So, early days, we're not too worried about the wins and losses here. We're not too worried about how the team does in this meta. What we're worried about is, how does this Pokemon feel, and how does it feel when you play it? So Fire Pokemon is one that you just get out, although this is actually half fighter, so I would have been neutral there because I would have hit super effective against the fighting but resisted against the fire, so I could have stayed in there. Did eventually get in there with Marowak, decided not to shield just to get blast burned. Okay. Now I have a water here, and what's in the back? An electric, but because I'm already out of surf, I think Jellicent's going to be very strong this season. Again, we'll see what the meta eventually centers out to, but You know, I do think with maybe I was gonna say less dark because of the Charmers, but maybe if Charmers are only at 8 energy instead of 9, maybe the Charmers aren't as prevalent. But there's still a lot of dragons, so I still think fairies are gonna be everywhere, which means dark maybe a little less, which means ghost has a little more play. You know, you just gotta kind of A equals B equals C. Okay, Lapras. This is kind of one you want to see. Not with Frostbreath, it's not. Oh my god. Okay. It would have been cool to see how that played out against a Psywave one, because you would have had them out spamming you, because it would only take 12 to a Sparkling Aria, and then it would have been interesting if you could have out Charmed in the 2v1 shield. I guess you could sim it, but not until PV Poke updates. But yeah. Also, I know it's very often fast move timing there and a bunch of other things, slow on the switch, so you don't need to call me out on that. I was very aware that I was playing poorly in this matchup, but it was one of those, like, you kind of play at the level of your competition, and here comes a 2 shield advantage, taking this out here. So down this goes. Out comes a Berserker, so I instant swapped into the Marowak. Forgot that they had the iced fast move Lapras on the front here. Do get to that buff Rock Slide. It is still Rock Slide, which is still not an amazing move. It is non-stab. So yes, it's helpful. Like, any buff is helpful to the move, but it's not something that's going to like significantly change Marowak. I still think Marowak's strength is its Mud Slap Bone Club spam combo there. Rock Slide is just a nice coverage move. Maybe you hit a little harder on the coverage now, but I still think it's going to play the same like 90% of the time. So down goes the Berserker. Wigglytuff into Pharaoh. So this is one I wanted to test out, and I wanted to test it out with the Icy Wind. So how do you play this Pokemon out in these neutral matchups? When the assumption was Icy Wind was 5, the play should have pretty much always been lower the opponent's attack quickly, so that you can live the next move. So I still tried that strategy here. I knew they were going to outpace the second move. That was just, there's no question about that. But if I can lower their attack, and these charm damages did enough, and I'm going to have to potentially throw a move anyways. I don't even need to throw a move, which is huge. I do take it out there. I tried to go for the Icy Wind here because Swift is resisted on the Ghost. So come in here with my Jellicent and Como. This is exactly what I was talking about in my video this morning. Como is interesting. Here comes a 140 damage, clanging scales. Jellicent's obviously got a little bit of bulk, so it can live. But now I come in here and they throw the upper hand, just assuming that I'm going to shield correctly, that I was going to shield upper hand, and that upper hand lowers my defense. So here we go. We have a second move that is cheaper to get to and causes your opponent, in my case, to lower my attack here. So again, Regidrago with only the one move, Breaking Swipe, more energy now. Maybe other dragons to use. We'll see. Scizor, terrible lead. Marowak is a safe swap. We'll see what they switch into. They switch into Azumarill, so I'm not going to flip switch here. Unfortunately, Azumarill is just too tanky, and these bubbles really add up, and my IVs are not good on my Marowak. 15 attack, 13, 11 here. It's my only shot I have. So, like I always say, do IVs matter? Only when the difference in levels is like 6 to 8. I wouldn't run a Hundo Azumarill when I have like a 115, 11, and the difference is like 10 levels. I probably would not do that. But am I going to not run a Shadow Marowak because my attack is 15? No. Kenta Marowak is a beast. So lost the lead, gonna lose switch, I lost switch, and in the back is Primeape. So win con is Jelly. I know not to show the first one because they're only gonna boost their Rage Fist. I am going straight Shadow Ball in the hopes that this lands and does take them out, and it does. That is huge. Bullet Punch is resisted. They seem to be over farming a lot. I don't want to say for no reason, but they're over farm here, and I think they over farm on this next one too, because I remember they should be at 2 moves. Oh, they go double Trailblaze, that's why. Because they go double Trailblaze here, which is fine, but because they're just boosting their attack. But what that allows me to do is get to the second move where maybe they could have got to 3 Night Slashes. It would have been close. And now, because they Night Slashes resisted, probably should have still thrown it if they had it. They're not going to get to a third Trailblaze, and I can Swift this out. So tough lead, tough switch. Nice backline with Jelson on the Primeape. Able to take this matchup despite the tough alignment there. Typhlosion, Fire, bad lead. You got an instant swap. I assume they're going to have an answer for Marowak. We don't really care about that. We just want to draw something out. You are double weak to grass in the back, so drawing it out here is okay. If they get the full farm down, that's going to be tough. But yeah, I'm close to a second move, so they're going to throw. This Pokemon, Dartrix, I can't tell whether Dartrix has some bulk to it or these charms just hit. I'm so used to charms hitting so hard and now they're hitting way less. Brave Bird lands and they keep it alive kind of smartly. And then I'm like, oh no. I know this thing has Thunder Punch, but I got to watch out for the grass Pokemon. But then I'm like, oh, that did way too much. I'm screwed. So unfortunately, with this alignment again, going to go down here. And it kind of goes back to what I said about in my non-legend or Reddit post, depending on where you saw it. The meta's tough. This is the early part of the season, so you're going to see some crazy stuff anyways. But, you're going to see a variety of Pokemon over this season, and it's tough to build for every single one. Stunfisk in the back, another bulky Pokemon, and Jelson's going to have a bad matchup there anyways, but not that it matters. No chance. Top left, essentially. I'd be very surprised if I shield this. Let's get this over with. We have 30 games to do today. Okay, Wiggly into Dedenne. So again, this is one where they're going to beat you to the first move. That's no doubt. The question is, do you just shield their first move and throw the Icy Wind? Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to play Wiggly the majority of the time. Is because Icy Wind is still only 18 to get to, it would be almost impossible for an opponent to get to 2 moves unless they have like an 8-turn move. It's almost impossible for your opponent to get to 2 moves before you get to your 1 move. So I think for the most part, I did just shield the first move up, lower their attack with the Icy Wind. It still chips. You can still do some charm damage, force them out potentially, take switch or lower their attack and then live a move because you're Wigglytuff and can definitely take moves. So I grabbed on shield here. Wiggly's coming in. I think I throw here because I'm like, I don't think there's a point to take a move if I don't really have to. But do grab a shield, and at this point I'm like, okay, my win con is Jelson. Definitely going to shield up a move here. This thing's going to hurt more than anything else I'm going to see. I mean, the Marsh Top. And going to 9 versus 10 incinerates. 9 hexes versus 10 incinerates. Get off the Shuttle Ball. Super effective. This will take out. And now I can just go for the Surf for the win here. Wiggly into Gastrodon. Played it out the same, but I think I had to double shield because the Mud Slaps are still adding up. So they did end up going double straight Water Pulse here. So I do shield the first one up, playing the strategy the same, and then get to the Icy Wind. The only problem is I know they're going to outpace me to the second move here too. So I'm charming it. These charms are not obviously doing a ton anymore. And then they're on another move. I'm like, man, I'm in the deep yellow. So could I live the Water Pulse lowered? Maybe. But I don't want to take that chance. And I think I could just shield, farm down, come out with some moves, which I think is more valuable. Not when you have an Empoleon. Instant swap into the Marowak. Mud Slaps are super effective. So I was able to get a little bit of chip there before they got into their Guzzlord. Guzzlord is probably not going to take me out with any of its first moves, which is good. Because now I can put on pressure onto the next one here with this charge move. Because now they basically need to shield. Because if they let me get a couple more slaps into the Empoleon, that puts them pretty low. And that's why they shield. They want to get this out of here. Because if I got 1 or 2 more Mud Slaps, it basically puts Empoleon in the yellow. and they don't know what I have in the back yet. So Empoleon comes back in. Gonna lower its attack just because I know they can only throw Drill Peck at Jellicent. And now this allows me to kind of over farm and come out with another move. So I can take, it's in a shut on Empoleon, but I lowered its attack. And this is kind of what I was talking about Regidrago this morning, where Breaking Swipe could still potentially have value, but I probably wouldn't throw it 98% of the time. If you can lower your opponent's attack, lowering your opponent's attack changes significantly how matchups play out. And here we are as a prime example. 2 Drill Pecks from a non-lowered attack probably puts me out, or at least within like 1 HP. But with a lowered attack, I'm able to overfarm, take the 2 moves, come out with a Surf here, and then take it out. So definitely plays much different when you lower the opponent's attack. Talonflame, expected to incinerate, do not even get it there. Again, I don't always recommend going into one of your hardest answers. Like going into a water against Talonflame is very risky. But Jellicent is, again, one of those that's, even if you get hit with like a grass, Hex and Shadow Ball. Oops, Shadow Ball is not Legacy. I'm sure someone called me out for that already. I think it was Legacy on another Pokemon, which is why it's there. But yeah, so they're in the red. They're just throwing straight Aqua Tails. Again, early, if they should have Thunder Punch, that was a Community Day move. But if they don't, because of whatever, like because they don't have it, that's fine. And they shield and I still get to a second move. So again, this is why I kind of really don't care about wins and losses this early in the season. You're going to see a bunch of people. Lucario comes in. Luckily, Force Palm's resisted that I'm able to get to another move off and grab a shield. They're down 2 shields. Coming in Wiggly. This Aura Sphere is still going to hurt if they have it. It is just a Blaze Kick. Oh, yeah, right. The Talonflame. I was like, why am I coming in Wiggly? I'm coming in Wiggly and sacrificing it because they have the Talonflame still. And I need shields for this because I need to get the Rock Slide off. And if they're going to get to 2 moves here, I need to shield, which is exactly what happens. They're at a second move, so I have to shield. I remember now. So shield up both moves. Get to the Rock Slide. This will take it out. It's double super effective. And now those slaps are really going to add up on the Lucario. Dunsparce. We'll play this out. Again, you probably should only be leaving steals and poisons and fires. Steals, poisons, and fires. Anything that resists your charge move or hits super effective against you. This one I did not. See, I played this one differently because I was like, why did you tell us to shield an Icy Wind if you're not going to do that? The reason I played it differently was because I didn't know if a Drill Run from a Dunsparce against a Wigglytuff with great IVs would even do 50%. So I thought it would probably take 3 anyways, but it looks like these rollouts are actually starting to add up. So I did have to shield up one. I'm not going to shield up this one. And we end up simultaneously taking each other out here. So we will let the rock, paper, scissors gods here decide who we align with. And I get my Marowak on a Blastoise. So rollout is resisted, but Hydro would be super effective. So I end up catching that Hydro Cannon on my Jellicent after taking the resisted rollouts and getting some energy there. In the back is a Corviknight. So this is okay. I have some energy. If I can land this, I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm probably still going to let go. Yeah, and it's just a Sky Attack. The amount of people that were running Sky Attack on Corviknight after the community day, it's either like people clicked the wrong Pokemon or like heard that Corviknight was number one ranked and just used it without knowing it had the needed the community move. I don't know why there's so many Sky Attack Corviknights. So anyways, take it down with the shield advantage, which means I'm now going to be able to take shield up 1 Hydro and take out this Blastoise for the win here. So Wigglytuff, strong? Yes. Overpowered? No, definitely not, especially with the charms at only 8 energy. Worth using? Yes. I still think for the most times you're still just playing it charm, icy winding your opponent and then taking it out with the remaining move. You could. The argument is like you could still just go double swift, given that it's 1 turn faster and it's a 3-turn move. So I wouldn't like just say you shouldn't do that. You can definitely just go double swift, but I just find like if it's gonna take 2 moves anyways, 1 extra charm and lowering their attack to now take a less hard hitting move the second and potentially third time around just seems more valuable. But free to play how you want. Again, I do think it's gonna go down in the rankings just based on it's simmed based on the assumption of 9 energy, and it's not getting 9 energy, it's only getting 8 energy. So we'll go down, still usable, probably still going to be the best fairy, at least charmer in the meta for sure. Fairy in the meta, where's the Dedenne ranked? Again, this is not, Dedenne's 11. Yeah, it's going to be lower than Dedenne for sure. So Dedenne will be the #1 ranked fairy. Parabolic Charge should have been nerfed, but it was not. So Dedenne will be the #1 ranked Pokemon for fairies. Wiggly guaranteed will be lower than that when they do the new sims. But that is it. Steelix tomorrow. Another one that I think that Dragon Tail is only got the Dragon Breath mirror energy, so that one is down a bit too. We'll see where it eventually lands. It plays much, much worse with only 4 energy. But we will cover that tomorrow morning. So that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.